Okay, I'm back. I want to talk about gravel events for beginners. So you've had all this buzz about gravel this, gravel that, gravel that. So I think I've been doing gravel for a few years now, since 2017, I believe. But I think back then I wish I knew some of the things I know now, like training. So today we're gonna kind of cover some of the things that you need to know before you get into gravel, and then we'll kind of go over a list of some of my favorite gravel events. Well, and also those that I'm eyeing, and also that I think would be great for beginner friendly, just because of how they're formatted, right? So let's jump into it, okay? So I think first things first. Gravel riding, especially if you live like here in Iowa, there's a lot of different multi-surface routes or routes for everybody else in the rest of the world. So it's very important to pick a tire that's kind of gonna be a Swiss Army knife for, in my opinion, right? I don't like to just kind of focus on one tire and mounting tires. Let's be real. Some of us are regular folks, so we can't afford mounting a tire every time you're gonna do a different route. So knowing the majority of your terrain that you're gonna be doing, and then picking the tire based on that terrain, I think for me is one of the best things I should have known, right? Reason being, I remember one of my first gravel rides. It wasn't an event. I went out riding early spring. Back then I was riding 38s. Those used to be humongous at the time. And early spring, they throw it down really thick gravel here in Iowa. So it was just unbearable. That tire was just digging into all the gravel. And it was incredibly a lot of work to just kind of go through those. So picking the right tire. I think anymore we should agree. Some of you might disagree with me, but that's all right. I think anymore 42 minimum, a 42 millimeter tire. Anything less than that, I think it's just gonna kind of limit on what you can do. Increasingly, a lot of events, kind of like Rebecca's Private Idaho, Mid South. If you do the 50 and 100-mile route, they do include single track. Iowa here, we do a lot of B roads. Elsewhere, they call them minimum maintenance roads, MMRs. You probably heard that. So those guys, so having a tire that's kind of going to be able to do that, because reason being, you don't want to go too small of a casing because of pressure, right? You want to reduce the pressure because you're off-road. Typically, the lower PSI, the more comfortable the ride's going to be. Obviously, not too low so that you're bouncing all over the place, but enough to just take the edge off, especially if you're doing longer rides. So that's number one. Number two, you look at the route you're doing and kind of picture, all right, we're doing 50 miles. I only have room for 2 bottles on my bike. And then, so you need to plan accordingly. Is there a stop, a gas station route along my route that I can stop and get more water, or Coke, whatever, pizza? Here in Iowa, we love to do the Cases stops. The local group I ride with, the Gravel Scouts, will stop Cases. It's a perfect stop. They have everything that you need. They have pizza. They have those roller dogs, whatever. But if you're desperate for calories, anything works. So making sure that you look at your route ahead of time and know what you're going to do for water. Next thing, especially if you're going to be maybe doing a solo ride, what's your plan B in case you use up all your CO2s, right? You need to be able to know, all right, my cell phone works. I need to call somebody back home to come and get me. I've been in that predicament myself where I got out there and I realized this is not a huge deal. I should know this by now. But my derailleur battery, one of them was just bad. It was just too old. I think it was like 5 years old. And it was just not holding a charge. I totally forgot about it. I put it on a charge and I thought it was good to go. Got 25 miles down the road from home, single speed. And I was doing a hilly route. I had to call Yvonne. She came out there and gave me a battery. and I sent on highway, and I rode the rest of my route, which is 50 miles. So having a plan B, make sure you have your cell phone. If you're gonna be doing backcountry stuff, one of those Garmin GPS communicators. Let me see if we can pull it up here. As you can see here, this is the Garmin InReach. You know, this thing here. There's different. I think there's different brands. I'll link different brands of satellite communicators. If you're an Apple fanboy and fangirl, Apple does have the satellite. I believe starting with the iPhone 14 and above, you're able to, if you have no cell phone reception, you're able to send a text message via satellite. You know, so in that situation, if maybe the signal is weak enough that you can't send a text message but you can't call, I always, just turn off your cellular service, and then the option will be available to you. It's just not available if you have cell phone service. It just won't even pop up as an option. So have a way to communicate back home for somebody to come get you. The last thing you want is being eaten by a bear because you couldn't call home, right? Next thing that we need to talk about is comfort. Comfort. Make sure, some of you don't use Xiaomi Bata, some do. But if you're new at this, your tank might not be just ready for the abuse that the gravel roads might give you. So having some kind of lubricant to help things along is fantastic. Also the bibs, fantastic. The other thing with off-road riding, gravel in a way, gravel allows you to really adventure a little bit more, right? So I find myself anymore that I will take more sketchy roads because I know that my bike can handle it. So this takes us into bike and bike equipment. One of the things that I look at is tire clearance, right? Because remember, as we went back ahead earlier, tire clearance is a big deal. So make sure if you're buying a new bike that you can fit at least a 2.1 inch tire. So that bike will allow you to do just about anything. Geometry, don't get too much of a racy bike unless you're really excellent handler. Then do you, right? Then get a racy bike, but go for a gravel bike that's a little bit more slack. It's going to allow you to handle a little bit better off-road. Also do single track. I do single track on my gravel bike. I did it for years on my Salsa Cutthroat, and I'm still able to do that on my more. It's not as racy it's not as slack as a Cutthroat, but it's in between a road bike and a gravel race bike and a Salsa Cutthroat. So I'm riding a trek checkpoint, and it's still a bit slack, not quite as slack as you'd get from a quote unquote gravel race bike. So look at that slack angle. Look for something that's going to allow you to be a little bit stretched out a little bit more, so that you can really get down low and stay comfortable for longer periods of time. Pedals, unless you're a pro, or if you're not going to be getting off your bike to hike any sections, I would advise making sure that you go with the mountain bike specific pedals, SPTs, Time, Crank Brothers is what I ride. There's the X pedal. There's several off-road variants of pedals that you can go with. The other thing is think about extra hydration on the bike, especially if you're going to be doing a longer route, let's say summer, right? Or if you live in the Southwest, your summers get ridiculously hot. Over here in Iowa too. So looking at a distance and knowing, all right, I might be 50 miles, I have 2 bottles, not enough to make it to that gas station at mile 45. So thinking of perhaps a Camelback, perhaps a soft flask. We use those collapsible flasks. So you can get those, fill them. They're really super lightweight. You don't even know you have extra water on you. But so things like that. The other thing is lights. Yes, you're gonna be going off-road a lot more, less traffic, but also a lot of times on these less traveled roads, other motorists, for example, ATVs, side-by-sides, they kind of don't expect people to be out there on these roads, especially cyclists who are not making any noise. So having that light is going to be good, especially if you're doing those long, maybe dusk till dawn kind of rides, making sure they are visible right early in the morning and late into the evening. We'll talk about nutrition also. Used to do combination of solids and nutrition in the bottle. I like my liquid calories, and I just found out it's just getting up. It was getting up here, and I'll get 40 miles in. I just couldn't eat anything, and then bonk, game over. Now I'm limping home. So I've refined mine, but you'll have to work to find what works for you, right? You gotta find, do I like just drinking my calories? Do I like a mix of both? I found that if I'm doing the longer 65 and over miles, I will do in the later miles, starting with around mile 60, I'll start doing some solids just to, kind of reducing the water intake, depending on the temperature. If I'm sweating my butt off, then I'll keep drinking as much as possible, obviously, to keep those cramps at bay. If you've been a long-time follower of the channel, you've seen my fair share of me cramping all over the freaking place. So hydration, nutrition, salt. One of the things that I found for me that has helped with my gravel adventures has been element T. Okay, so let's pull that up on the computer here. So that's element T. Different flavors. They've actually come a long way since I started using them. They've added flavors. Back then, when I started, they just had plain. I think it was just raw, flavorless. Now they have all kinds of, cocoa, chocolate, raspberry, whatever your taste buds desire, they got you. So that's a very good recommendation for gravel, because gravel tends to be here, listen, in the Midwest, super exposed, so you're sweating quite a bit. So being able to supplement your sodium intake in your bottles is a big thing. Now let's jump into, I kind of want to go over some of my recommendations of gravel rides or gravel events, shall we say, that I think would be fantastic for a new rider. If you're looking to get into this fancy stuff of gravel, gravel is a new road, right? Maybe gravel is a new mountain bike. We'll call it the mountain bikers. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back on topic here. All right, so we're just gonna go through this list. Again, no particular order. I'm just gonna mention some of these cool events. If you know of any other events, please throw them down in the comments. I want to know about it. All right. Anyway, before we continue, if you're enjoying this content or finding any kind of value, please hit the like, subscribe, and also, most importantly, watch all the way through. That's all the YouTube gods care about, is watching all the way through. So you just hitting a like and then watching half of the video, YouTube's like, nope. So please watch all the way through. Send me a comment. Give me some pointers of what I missed out on this gravel grinding stuff. Anyway, let's jump back in here. Let's jump back on the screen here. All right, one of the events that has grown dear to my heart is Gravel Locos. Okay, Gravel Locos is down in Hico, Texas, May 24th. I think it might still be open. Again, I'll link all these events down in the description. So click on them and see which one is still open. And if you haven't, there's always next year, right? But until then, don't stop riding the bike. Keep riding the bike. So Gravel Locos is amazing. Fabian and his team, fantastic. As gravel gets big, so do the costs that come with putting these events on. So naturally, some of the presenters stand back on what they offer, right? Gravel Locos has stayed true to their mission. They provide a meal after the event, which is it's a reality these days, and you don't find it very often. There's just a few that are left do it. Mid-South, Bobby, Wento, and Club. These guys are amazing also. This is another one of those great first time events. If you're like, hey, I want to get into this gravel stuff, Mid-South is it. They have plenty of different route options, so you can't go wrong. There's a mega party. There's a DFL, dead effing last. Really cool. they give an award to the person that's, the last. Usually it's new riders that just not are new to endurance and they just grind it out. I remember those days. Fun fact: my first gravel race, 65 miles. It rained all night before. It took me, get this, over 10 hours to finish. So if they were giving out a DFL, actually we did get Yvonne stayed and helped me limp through the finish line. But we both got awarded. We got messenger bags. I think I still have my bag, or maybe we donated them to somewhere. But yeah, so Mid-South is fantastic, fantastic. There's the fast people, and then there's the regular people, and Bobby and his team really take care of the whole, gambit of people that show up. Next on my list, if you're like, all right, these huge, super huge mass participation events are not my thing, Hodag Country Ramble. I've done this twice. I think it's slated for year 3. Really cool event. It really, it's not a race. You just ride your bikes and camp all weekend with like-minded people. I would say it's more on the out cycling side of things. Okay, you're not gonna find aero helmets there. You're not gonna find a lot of tights. It's gonna be more relaxed. It's not a race. They have 3 route options. I believe at 85, 65, and like 25, something like that. Again, I'll link this in the description. In the description. So click on there and check it out. I highly recommend this event. It's way up in the north woods of Wisconsin. Really cool. It's in the fall. Just a great way to cap the bike riding season for some of us fair weather riders, right? Next on my list, I've not done this one yet. This one here is called Valley of Tears down in Turkey. Thanksgiving Turkey, Texas, right? I've not done this one, but I'm super stoked. I'm gonna be going to this. I'm gonna be doing this pretty soon here. So I am looking forward to enjoying Valley of Tears. And the reason I have this on this list is it's still a young race, so it's not. I think it's gonna be conducive. They have different distances as well, and from what I've seen and what I've heard, it looks like they put on quite a good, welcoming event. So that's why it's on my list. It's and I think it's still open. It might still be open. Yeah, actually, it's registered. So sign up, and let's ride bikes. Okay, I'm gonna be fast. So as you can see, the trainer in the back, right? Kidding. Who's fast here? Next on the list, I would be remiss if I missed out on my local gravel series, Iowa Gravel Series. These guys are fantastic. They've done quite a few cool things all over the place, and they have a crazy schedule of races. And I don't know of any other promoter that does this kind of amount of races, but they have fantastic races, and all their races have local experts. So they take you on some of the best roads in that part of Iowa. I think one of their races actually might cut into Nebraska in late fall. So Iowa Gravel Series, it's a series, so they have a bunch of different events. You can go ahead on my channel as well. Check it out. I have I did one of their series last year. It was called the Kelowna Horseshoe Gravel, really hilly and not very far from my house. It's literally 15 miles down the road here, southwest, and you get southwest there, and man, is it hilly and fast and flat, but more hilly than flat. You would think it would be flat the entire time for Iowa, but you'd be wrong. Next is Core 4. Core 4 is also quickly gaining a big following nationwide. This is also happens here, right here in my hometown, Iowa City. They are part of the Gravel Earth Series for 2025. So pretty cool to see this local race, becoming something fantastic. I did it. I believe the second year it was around. I did it. Really cool. So also I have the video. So check it out. Next, Heck of the North, Le Grand du Nord. I've done this one too, and I put a lot of these here because of how beginner friendly they are. It's not a huge race where there's so many rules and directions of how to get registered and check in and all that fun stuff. It's kind of like old school gravel. Back in the day, you just showed up, race promoter was right there. All right, sign your name, ID, done. You're good to go, wherever. Here's your number plate. We'll see you at the start. Get your own nutrition, kind of thing. They do provide these water stops on over here, but it's up in the north woods of Minnesota, North Shore, shall I say. Really cool scenery up there. Really cool. There's some long climbs. You know, it's up there in north by Lake Superior up there. So really cool. Next is Pine Island Gravel. This is done in Colorado. I have not done this yet, but it's definitely one of those things that I definitely want to do. It looks cool. There's videos on YouTube about it, but the routes looks absolutely jaw-dropping. So one of my criteria for a great gravel ride, obviously I'm not like in a pro racer, so I'm not riding at 25 miles an hour the whole race, but I do like to go fast, you know, reasonably. But I also like while I'm out there suffering, you know, putting out the watts, megawatts, Mathieu Van der Poel kind of watts. I do like to look at the scenery, bison, all kind of stuff, you know, all that fun stuff that comes along with that. So this one's on my list. This one's on my list. It looks really cool. I think it's mainly on my list because in Colorado, and it's also it looks pretty cool scenery-wise. Next. This is the Michigan Coast to Coast. I don't know much about this, but the few videos I've seen online, it looks fantastic. People have great things to say about it. So definitely another one of those to put on a list. We're kind of going through here. Next is the Dam, the day across Minnesota. This is a crazy race. It starts midnight to midnight. So it's a fantastic 24-hour thing, 240 miles. Yvonne's doing this one, so make sure you leave a comment for Yvonne and wish her luck. And I think there's a registration might have closed because people love it. I've never done it. I've done Unbound, but 240 miles in Minnesota, especially where it ends, is you need to train. I mean, probably by the time this rolls around, I'll have the fitness to do it, but. It's Minnesota is beautiful, and it ends up kind of like the driftless region of Minnesota, and that's kind of hilly. Big boy watts are required, and on that we'll follow right into Driftless 100. This is another local gravel race. Well, local as in Iowa. I've done this. It's also on my YouTube channel. You go check it out. Again, grassroots event. These guys are fantastic. They take good care of you. There's an ambulance if you need it. And reason being is this part of Iowa, Elkader, Iowa. This is where Ivan's family is from, by the way. It is incredibly hilly. As you can see here on the screen, incredibly hilly. There's over, mile and a half, 2 mile climbs, which is very unusual for Iowa, at least the southeast of Iowa. Once you get into western Iowa, and then this is northeast Iowa, you get into the Driftwest region where it's pretty hilly. As you can see, this first shot here that's showing on the screen, they're going up the first hill of the day. It is absolutely crazy. It is just boom. I think it tops out around 20%. But once you suffer through some of those things, the year I did the 60 mile, and I'm actually contemplating on doing it this year as well. The universe allowing, but really fantastic. You camp at the city park in Elkader, plenty of spots to spray around. You hang out there, and then early in the, I think the rest starts, the 100 miler starts I think at 7, and then the 60 miler later on, I think at around 8 o'clock. Really cool event. Anyway, that's my short list of events. There is plenty of other gravel events that are not on here. Foco Fondo in Colorado, Fort Collins. I did that this year. Video on my channel, by the way. Really cool. It's put on by Whitney Allison and her husband. Fantastic. Also, it's one of those races getting big, but they're still kind of staying true to their roots. There's scholarship programs if you can afford to get in. they provide a meal afterwards, after the race, in the beer, so that's a fantastic one. SBT Gravel, they're changing the format a little bit this year, but that's also another fun. If you're into the party, the gravel party, SBT, I feel like they do a pretty good job because they spread it out over a course of, I think 3.5 to 4, almost 4 days of just, bike stuff. So for me, anytime there's bike stuff for that many days, please sign me up. But yeah, that's, I know, some people might be getting tired of some of the bigger lifetime events because they just I think they're kind of losing their way again. I'm not sure, but if you're looking for some of the grassroots events, this list here really kind of nails down some of those things that people really liked about gravel when they first started. I'll have the complete list of all these down below. Check it out. Obviously, don't forget to train. Gravel requires constant power, right? Let's get out of the screen here so that we can focus on the trainer. So that's the trainer back there, Wahoo Kicker. I will be making a video on that next time. And then we'll talk about the Wahoo Kicker. I've had it for a while now, and we'll probably talk about training plans. But anyway, until next time, please, if you enjoyed this, hit that subscribe, that like button, the one that looks like this. Leave me a comment. I love comments. I actually like hearing people's experiences and also their plans for the upcoming season and how you're faring this. If you're in the Midwest or South or the East Coast and wherever else it gets cold, or if you're in places like Florida where it's nice all year long for the most part. Just let me know how your riding's going. Yeah, please don't forget to leave me a comment, a subscribe, like, and we will see you in the next video. Pew!